all my locations are covered.
Squad 51, stand by for response.
Good late afternoon, early evening, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. It's Matty. I am here at the one, the only, the iconic Magic Kingdom. Oh man, and why did I come out here this late afternoon, early evening? Well, we'll kind of pick up where we left off with the other vlog with Tiana's Bayou adventure. As you know, holy cow, what is amazing 48 hours will do, huh? A lot of discussion about that ride, and a lot of discussion about how or what creators, certain creators, live streamers, are letting their chats and comments talk about it. It's really interesting. But if you haven't figured it out by now, Tiana's Bayou Adventure has been open for a couple days now. They're doing cast previews. I haven't ridden it yet, so this is going to be like Tiana's Bayou Adventure Part 2. This is picking up from where I left off the other day when I was here in the walls, just happened to come down that day. But I want to go in there and revisit some things, and I want to talk about some things as well. I want to talk about the ride. I want to talk about what people are saying, but also I want to talk about like the, how can I say this lightly? Again, it's hard. I can't go full tilt on this thing yet because I haven't ridden it. I feel like it's not fair to do a full like review when you haven't ridden it and you've only seen it on YouTube, because hey, YouTube's YouTube, man, or social media. You can only get so much from it, but the things I did get out of it, it just really kind of, it's very frustrating. That's all I'm going to say right now. We're going to have a fun evening here, and we're going to go over to the Tiana's Rainforest Cafe, Broccoli Mountain, Hobby Lobby Flower Aisle Adventure ride and see if it's running. It should be. It's cast previews. But also, let's talk about this thing. Let's just throw it all out there and talk about it, huh? I want to thank you also for your support on the first one. It's doing very well, which is why I wanted to come out and kind of do another one of these, because hey, let's face it, man, this is where the traction is right now. And when you're growing a channel, you know, this is the kind of stuff you got to kind of hang on to. But as I've said, you know, whether you agree or disagree with my viewpoints on this, throw it in the comments. All I ask is just don't be a freaking asshole. But people are allowed to agree or disagree. It's okay. That's what makes us unique, you know? So let me know what you think about it. If you've ridden it, if you're a cast member, or you've somehow been able to ride this with a cast member, let me know what you think about it. We're gonna go back there. We're gonna talk about it. We'll have ourselves a fantastic afternoon, evening here. Let's get our asses in gear, get inside. Welcome to Main Street Fire Rescue. We're now in service. I should point out too, the I call them the 4th of July decorations are out now. I'm not sure if these were here for Memorial Day. I don't remember. But regardless, they're here now. These will be up all the way through the 4th of July. About late July these will come down. But what I think is really cool, what's really cool about this is, and we'll show you when we walk inside, from this point onward, from the beginning of June all the way to the middle of January, so for the next roughly 6 months or so, there will be some kind of decorations here at Magic Kingdom. It starts with the 4th of July, Memorial Day / 4th of July decorations, and it continues all the way to Halloween, and then to the best time of all, Christmas time. So this is pretty neat. Once you start seeing these, we're halfway through the year, and we're getting into my most favorite time of year, from 4th of July onward. What I find hard to believe is when these decorations come down, right? The 4th of July patriotic decorations, when these come down, Halloween will be going up. Which the first Halloween party is August 9th this year. August the 9th. Wow. I can't. What's crazy is we're about right at the mark where we're 2 months away from the first Halloween party. How about that, huh? Welcome to Main Street, USA, home of Main Street Fire Rescue. So I don't have a lot on the agenda tonight for this vlog, other than we're gonna go back to TIANA'S Rainforest Broccoli Mountain Adventure and take a look and walk around and have some discussion. Man, that sun is like right above the top of Splash Mountain. The water's flowing. Let's see what's going on. This area right here too, man, seemed like it could have been something a whole lot greater than what it is. Even when it was Splash Mountain, not much was going on here, but the buildings and everything, what was inside the ride, really made up for it. Well, this definitely has everybody's attention. Oh, there's a guy dressed up like Dr. Facilier. How freaking cool. We're going to talk about that too. Let's take a little walk around that side of the mountain first, and then we'll come back over to this side. That sun needs to go down just a hair more because it's right in the lens. That's pretty cool. Yeah, everybody's got wristbands on, so this must be the cast member previews. Yep. So this is the exit here. There's the sign. That's kind of a neat sign. So all these people waiting, these are all for cast member previews. So if you're a cast member, I think you can bring yourself and two or three others, I believe. Once that sun goes down a little bit more, we'll take a little bit more of a walk. But what's been happening, especially yesterday and today, this ride cannot stay operational. Meaning over the last couple days, I think they said it's had 3.5 hours of total like operation where it hasn't broken down. That's really bad. That's horrible. This ride has been closed for refurbishment for a long time, basically a year and a half. And here we are under cast preview, and it can't keep the ride running. It will not stay running. Yesterday, they had to call the fire department had to come out because the fire alarms were going off. Now, some people have said it's a ghost of Splash Mountain. Given what's happened recently, I might believe that. But yeah, they cannot keep this thing running for anything right now. One would think the first thing you would do is upgrade the ride system. Just an idea. But it looks like they didn't touch the ride system at all. Still the same old workings and everything. And keep in mind, this thing's been closed down, not really with a lot of movement through it for almost a year and a half. So I'm sure that played into it quite a bit, but you know, how good of a look is that when you got people trying to ride this thing and it can't even stay running? So that's why everybody's standing out front versus riding. Now, I've often wondered about this. Again, this before this shanty thing was here, which it said back in 5 minutes. It said that 2 days ago. That's like free beer tomorrow. This was an area where they had a little lookout house, and it had Brer Rabbit inside of it with his hand out. Like, why not put a smaller, like not so in-depth animatronic in there to welcome people? Now, the one thing I've seen with the previews that are out on YouTube is this building right here, which I refer to that as during the Splash Mountain days. That was like going into Uncle Remus's house. If you ever watched Song of the South, Uncle Remus told a lot of his stories in his house and out in the woods, but it starts off with him telling the stories of Brer Fox, Brer Bear, Brer Rabbit in his house. So it's like you're entering into his house and you're going up the lift hill and you're starting the ride. Now, what they've done is they've added a animatronic of Tiana in there, and it's all themed now. So you're not just going up a lift hill with nothing to look at. That part, it's a nice change. But I can't get to it just yet because there's so many people. But right on the other side, over here, there's a wall. And it's a protective barrier wall. But for whatever reason, they decided to put vegetables and bowl of gumbo, and a lot of people are very confused at what that's for. Because the original storyline was we were supposed to be looking for ingredients to a hot sauce or a gumbo or something, and that's not what's going on now. And again, once I can get a place to sit down and talk, we'll go over all this. Storyline's very confusing. There's another group walking by. They were in the boats, and the thing freaking broke down again. This thing has not run one day at all. That's horrible. They can't keep this thing running, which is why this all looks like this now. Apparently, the word on the street was Tim Tracker and Paging Mr. Morrow were here yesterday. They both had gotten invites to ride this thing. It broke down with them as well, and they waited 4 hours in a queue only to get evac'd off the ride. Crazy, man. I tell you, man, Disney is not showing their best moment right now at all. This is not their best side. What's crazy is this ride has been here for what would have been 35 years this year, and they can't keep it running at all. Goes to Splash Mountain. Maybe we can try to appease the spirits a little bit here. Get this ride running.
Oh, you do. Oh, hello there, baby. Yes, sir. This here's one of them zippity-doo-dah days for sure. Zip, 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 zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay. Yes, sir, honey.
This was not
One of them zippity-doo-dah days. Now, that's the kind of day when you can't open your mouth without a song jump right out of it. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay. My, oh my, what a wonderful day. Plenty of sunshine heading my way. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay. Mr. Bluebird's on my shoulder. It's the truth. It's actual. Everything is satisfactory. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay. Wonderful feeling, wonderful day. Yes, sir. It's the truth. It's actual. Everything is satisfaction. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay. Wonderful feeling, feeling this way.
So this is the wall that I was talking about earlier. A lot of people have mentioned they're not really sure what's going on with it. Like, there's all the, looks like ingredients to gumbo, but why is that there? And I think that was there before when it was Splash Mountain, but I think that was a bare wall. And just as we were talking about the wall, the ride shut down again. Oh man. Wow. No es bueno.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm just
So I'm not sure if you could hear the people talking in the background, but a lot of people have said that this thing hasn't run all day today.
Fuck you mean? We were with the people down there, and then people just started lining up against the wall.
There's the gentleman from DSNY Newscast in the blue shirt, Jack. Very cool. So right here is where it all starts and finishes. It's a Disney line to nowhere. That's how Disney's like the only park where you can just get a few people to line up. Within about 20 minutes, you have half the park behind you for nothing. This is actually because the ride hasn't run all day today. Look at this. When you start charging well over $200 a day for tickets, you're expected. Now, granted, not everything can be perfect 100% of the time, But at that kind of a price point, you better get it right most of the time. And what's sad about this is because it hasn't run all day, I'm sure a lot of these cast members and people they've invited have taken time off work or taken time out of their day or whatever to do this. And it looks like, from what it sounds like, a lot of them have been here the majority of the day just waiting for this thing to run. I mean, what's going to happen when this thing opens? I mean, if it even is ready to open, if I were Disney Imagineering, man, I'd be like, we got to seriously talk about this. Either A, they need to shut this thing down, stop everything, and let's get this thing fixed and fixed right. Or they're going to suffer the consequences of having this thing open, and it's going to be broken more times it's going to be open. That's cool though, man. See Jack from DSNY Newscast here. That's really neat. His famous line when he exits the vlogs. I've been Jack, you've been you, and I'll see you real soon. I love it. But see, what's going to happen though is even if this thing does come up, no way all these people are going to get to ride tonight, because you're going to have all this backlog of people, plus the ones that have time slots for tonight. And if the ride's not running smoothly and it goes down again, I mean, there's no way. There's no way all these people are going to get to ride tonight. Like that railway company, Norfolk and Way. So basically they've got cast members trying to do damage control. Yeah, the boats aren't moving again. This line just keeps getting longer and longer and longer. As I said, anybody back here, you're not going to ride tonight. The cast member even said if the ride doesn't come up, they said by 8 p.m. or it's 8 p.m. and the line's out to here, they're going to find a place to just cut it off and tell everybody, oh, sorry about you. Somebody actually had a very good point. They said no other theme park or organization could get by with the crap that Disney does to their fans. And they're right. Well, let's talk about this, shall we? It's interesting, you know, when you hear about it, but you don't really see footage of it much because people are trying to, you know, give this thing the best look possible because it did not get well received at all during the initial previews. You know, keep in mind, this has been a 5-year project, of which the last year and a half it's been closed for refurbishment, renovation, whatever you want to call it. And to do this, they closed down arguably one of the most popular Disney rides in all of the Disney parks. I mean, per surveys, they say that Splash Mountain was the most popular by far. Also, with all the stuff that's going on and the bad press that this is getting, no way are they going to do this at Tokyo. No freaking way is the Oriental Land Company going to say, yeah, let's do that. I'm pretty sure Splash Mountain is there to stay for a very long time, because it sounded like they were toying with the idea, like they wanted to see how things looked here. Nah, not a chance. Now, if they do their own version and you get something like the Frozen ride over there and the new Fantasy Springs, yeah, I could see them doing well with that. But what really irritates me is by now, if you haven't seen this yet, go to YouTube or any other social media site, type in Tiana's Bayou Adventure, POV, and you'll see it all. I was hoping, after especially seeing what they turned out overseas, with the new Frozen rides and all the new attractions that have opened up over there, I thought, all right, we're gonna get, you know, I'm not happy about Splash Mountain closing, but I'll keep my mind open and maybe this thing's gonna be awesome. Yeah, no, it's not. It's really not. I mean, again, I'm gonna save my final like words of like how I really feel about this till I can actually ride it. It may, hopefully this year it's at some point. Like I said, this thing's supposed to open the 28th of this month permanently. So it is early June and this thing is not running. They have less than about 24 days to get this thing figured out. Yeah, as I was saying earlier, they really do need to just shut this down, stop all the previews, even cancel the opening date and say, listen, we got shit we got to work out. We'll let you know, man. But if it's anything like Rise of the Resistance, they're going to open it with it not working right. It's going to break down often. People are still going to show up and give them the money and do this, and then people are going to complain about it. And that's going to be how it goes. And this will continue until people finally, me included, I'm not exempt from this, but until people have finally said, I've had enough. I'm tired of giving money to an organization that just keeps taking more and more and more money and churns out crap products. You know, I really, really thought in my mind of minds that this was going to be something decent. I wasn't happy Splash Mountain was closing, like most people weren't, but we all have an open mind. You know, as Walt did say, you know, Disneyland, Disney World, none of the parks, they're not museums, you know, they are open to change. But I still think when you're changing stuff, you got to really look deep at what's most important and what people love. Why would you tear out something that is beloved by 98% of the people, you know, or try to convince, or have 2% of people try to convince the other 98% that they really hate the attraction because of some bullshit, you know. And that's one other thing I want to talk about. I am so sick and tired of these claims of racism that is the reason Splash Mountain closed down. For those that have no idea, I'm going to tell you, watch Song of the South. You can find it. It's hard to find. It's very hard to find. But I have my theories on why it's hard to find and why Disney wanted to get rid of it. You know, I have a copy of it, unedited, all original, and it's amazing because I can't find anything bad in there. Even if you look for it, you can't find anything bad. It is a fantastic story about Uncle Remus. It tells stories about Brer Rabbit, Brer Fox, and Brer Bear to a bunch of kids and even adults, and it's a heart-loving story. I'm not going to spoil the end for it, but basically it shows everybody walking off in the distance, all hand in hand, all ages, all colors, everybody singing and having a grand old time. And my opinion only, but the reason I think they wanted that removed from everything is because that doesn't follow the narrative that, you know, we're all supposed to be hating each other or that everybody hates everybody. It goes completely against what they're trying to push. It's really interesting because I've watched the movie over and over again. I love the movie. I can't find anything bad in it, even if you deliberately look for bad shit. And Zippity Doo-Dah is, I mean, how much more of a fun-loving, friendly song can you get than Zippity Doo-Dah? You know, I mean, it's just fun. The song that they have at the end of this, where you go back into the mountain, it's called like You're the Special Spice or something like that. It's catchy, but it's not anything that really, to me, is going to stand the test of time. It's not like when you'd hear Zippity Doo-Dah playing all around Magic Kingdom or everywhere, you'd hear the first two notes and you knew exactly what that was. Oh, that's Zippity Doo-Dah, as people start singing along. Or when you go back into the mountain there, everybody starts singing along. I don't see that happening with this. And the next thing I want to do real quick, I want to talk about the ride. Let's talk about the ride. The ride is, man, again, it's hard to see because it's dark in there. They really darkened it down. It reminds me a little bit of the Splash Mountain at Disneyland, which is really dark. But where there were physical sets and set pieces and animatronics pretty much everywhere, in this one there's a lot of empty space. In fact, what really blows the lid off of this whole thing is when Disney released their POV. If you notice, there's a lot of cutscenes. I think their video is like 9 minutes long, and the actual ride time on this is like 15 minutes, something like that, 14 or 15 minutes. So they cut out a couple minutes where there's nothing going on, and there isn't. There's some animatronics that are really, really neat, but yet again, on some of these POVs already, the animatronics aren't working correctly. Like there was one where Lewis's mouth wasn't moving. You know, again, technical rehearsal, I get it, but these are supposed to be top-notch, state-of-the-art animatronics, which is great, but again, leaves the potential for more problems. The rest of the animatronics are just like basic movements like this. There's only like 5, 6, or 7 of them that are actually legit moving like a human would. The rest of them are just moving around, or they've coined already the dancing okra. The dancing okra animatronics. I think what irritated people is you went from Splash Mountain, which had over 70 animatronics, to this one, which I think has 17. or less. There is a lot of dead space in there, and the storyline. The storyline is something that we all love Disney for. All the rides, the majority of the rides have a storyline. And it's something that we all, especially the biggest fans, we all know and love, you know, especially Splash Mountain. I'm going to say it again. Splash Mountain followed very similarly to the story of Song of the South, where Brer Rabbit was trying to outsmart Brer Fox and Brer Bear. And at the end, is, you know, the whole scene about going through the mountain was him, you know, up to his antics trying to fool Brer Fox and Brer Bear. And he did until the very end, where he got caught, which is then the part that leads you up the big incline, where, if you remember, the vultures were sitting on that log and there was thunder and lightning going on. They go, we'll show you a laughing place. And it was really ominous as you're climbing the hill. And then off to your left was Brer Rabbit's tied to a stake with Brer Fox, the shadow of Brer Fox licking his chops like he was gonna have him for dinner. And then all of a sudden at the end he goes, please, whatever you do, you can do whatever you want to me, just don't throw me in that briar patch. And if you remember in the actual story, that's what he does. He takes Brer Rabbit and he shakes his hand. He goes, yes, 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 I won't do that. And he flings him into the briar patch. Well, the whole theming of him being thrown into the briar patch is the drop. The drop symbolizes Brer Rabbit, or Brer Fox, slinging Brer Rabbit into the briar patch, because when you went down that hill, you went into the briars. I mean, it looked like you were going to ride into the thorns. It was very well done. And then the briar patch stretched all the way around. It really wasn't much over here, but once you got back to this area, you could see the briar branches and everything pick back up. And then when you went back in, it said, welcome home, Brer Rabbit. There was the big boat with all the animatronics on it, that everything moved. And then the briar branches still kept going, where they finally ended at Brer Rabbit's house. And he was sitting there talking to Mr. Bluebird going, Brer Rabbit goes, I'm certainly glad to be home and I'm never leaving home again. And Mr. Bluebird's like, I'm glad to hear you say that, Brer Rabbit. But that was a really cool storyline. With this, apparently when you're going down the other drops, it's something that has to do with Mama Odie making you small, which again, I'm gonna have to ride it to try to figure out, because I've tried watching the POVs. Not really sure why they're shrinking you down. I really don't understand that part. And then, instead of where, you know, a big build up to the drop over here, all she does is go, we're gonna make you big again and get you to the party, and that's it. And then you go down the hill, and instead of the briar thorns, you go into the thrush of the swamp, and then you come around, and once you go back in the building there, it's like a New Orleans scene. And then at the end is Mama Odie with a plate of beignets. So it's like, it's very confusing as to what in the world is going on. You know, first off, they told us that we were looking for gumbo. We're looking for some recipe for gumbo. And then it turned into we were looking for a secret ingredient for a hot sauce. And now everybody's just like, what is really going on here? First we're big, then we're small, then we're big again. And then you got the song called Special Spice, and which is okay. I mean, it's a cool little song, but then it's like, okay, what's that for? It's just, there's nothing that really makes a whole lot of sense. If you look at the original concept art, that top way up there, that was supposed to have Mama Odie's boat on it. But from what I understand is when they did that concept art, they didn't even think about checking the structural integrity of Splash Mountain, and come to find out that that structure with the tree with the boat in it, that wouldn't be able to happen, because that top isn't strong enough to hold that. That's why it was scalped. They had it pretty much figured out perfectly when they had the tree up there from Splash Mountain. Which, if you can find a photo of it, look at it closely, it's actually a silhouette of Brer Rabbit. I never knew that till they were getting ready to tear it down and somebody pointed it out. It's pretty cool. But the other thing that really sucks for me, and a lot of people, again, pointed this out, is there's no emotion, there's no danger. In every ride, especially a thrill ride, like we've got a 50-some foot drop, which at one time was the tallest drop on any water ride. This was a record breaker when it came out in the I think it was early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. And you know, the whole idea is to get people ready for this drop. Like, hey man, you got a big old drop coming up ahead. In fact, when Splash Mountain debuted, if you look at all the artwork and all the ads, that was the whole focal point, was the drop. Now it's like it's been swept away, and it's not a focal point anymore. And a lot of people pointed out, like, why in the world wouldn't you have changed, you know, kept the storyline from the movie, but put Dr. Facilier in at the bottom, the Shadow Man, and have him doing the "Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?" And as you're going up the hill, and you know, and then have a big culmination where you defeat the Shadow Man and escape from him coming down the hill again, you know, and then this big splashdown. Like, that would have been incredible. And I know they could have done that, but they didn't do it. Because why? Because everybody at Imagineering now is a bunch of soft-ass babies, and they're basically being stripped away of any creativity ability. They're told to make these rides as vanilla as possible. You don't want to make them scary. You don't want to make people think. You don't want to make people intimidated. You don't want to do anything. Vanilla. Just vanilla. That's it. No color. That's what it feels like. It feels like I'm looking at like a black, gray, and white painting, just with the colors mixed all together. There's no emotion, nothing. It's just there. And while I do like some of these colors, when I spin the camera on, you can kind of tell that by looking at this ride. It kind of goes along with its storyline, kind of like Soulless. It's a lot of greens, a lot of yellows, and a lot of browns. There's a few others worked in there, but it's mostly green, yellow, and brown. Right? And if you look at Splash Mountain was full of colors. It had reds, it had browns, it had some blue, it had green, it had everything. You know, and again, I can't really speak too much for the interior because I haven't seen it yet. So again, we'll do another one of these after I can finally ride this and get an actual view with my own eyes of this thing. But from what I've seen, that's what I'm basing everything off of. And the other thing I want to talk about, you live streamers out there that are out there streaming this, fantastic, show it off. But if you're going to get pissed off at people, or people in the comments, or your so-called moderators, or even people that are doing vlogs, and people putting comments in, if you're going to get pissed off at people mentioning Splash Mountain or Splash Mountain was better, that kind of stuff, and you're going to start deleting these people's comments, or you're going to start not letting them be a part of your stream, or you're going to delete their comments off your vlog, man, y'all need to get the hell off of YouTube. If you cannot take a little bit of criticism, or, you know, as I'm going to go out there and say the big bad word, negativity, you know, what are you doing on the internet? Yes, should things be profoundly positive? Absolutely. But as I said, when things really suck, they suck. I mean, and it's okay to say that, but you know what though, is one other person could come along and say, that was the greatest thing ever. Okay, perfect. That's their point of view. They thought it was great. I thought it was bad. We get together, we talk about it. Maybe we agree, maybe we disagree. It's okay, it's no big deal. But to sit there and delete people's comments, get rid of comments, or get rid of people from your stream by just like not allowing them access because they said something that doesn't go along with your own thoughts and opinions, well, that's freaking ridiculous, man. Like, what are you doing? Let people speak. Now, if people are going to be assholes and they're going to start causing a problem, or, you know, calling people out, being general assholes like that, that's something different. But to sit there and, you know, if they want to criticize something, it's okay. Let them criticize it. I'm sure, like, I like to keep mine open up. If people don't like it, say you don't like it. No big deal. We'll talk about it. I'm not a big fan of it, but maybe, you know, I got to ride it yet, but it's still not gonna, you know, if somebody were to come in and say, you know what, Matt, that was the greatest thing ever. Perfect. Tell me why it's the greatest thing. Tell me what you saw. What did you think? And then we talk about it. What's wrong with that? But just the arrogance and the ego of these people, like deleting comments and, you know, basically telling people where to go because they don't agree with what's going on, or they're not 100% positive all the time, is freaking stupid. And that's where I aim to be different. I really do. That's why I want my channel to be very, very different than that. Like I said, everybody's open to comment whatever you feel like. All I ask, you just don't come after me. You say something about me or my family or anything, yeah, we're gonna have words. Other than that, say whatever you want. Let's take a quick walk around, see if this thing is running yet. Just let this happen when this thing opens up to the regular public and people spent their hard-earned money to come out here on a day ticket and, you know, got lucky enough to get a virtual queue and maybe they got one chance at a park day. Yeah, let this happen then and see what happens. That's horrible, man. Horrible. Look, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger down here. Just people just hanging around. And it's getting close to 8 o'clock, so it's one of those things where if they can't get this thing running by 8, they said they're just going to say, we're done. Man, I was sitting here doing a little vlog and talking to the camera, and Jack from DSNY Newscast and Paging Mr. Morrow came right up. Very cool. I do feel really bad for these people. I really do. Like, you can tell they really want to ride this thing, and how frustrating.
You know, there's like. No, there's no line. There is no line. Okay, thank you. People choosing to wait right there. It's gorgeous.
People have talked about the curse of Splash Mountain. I'm starting to think it's real. After everything that's gone on, especially since they announced they closed this thing and turned it into this and did kind of a piss poor job, I'm starting to think it's real. Because last night, fire alarms went off. Apparently they had a small fire somewhere, or smoke in one of the buildings. They had to evac this thing. And like I said, it hasn't run hardly at all today. Man. Yeah, the boats aren't even moving. Nothing's moving at all. I've been here probably about an hour, 5 hour, 10 minutes, just wandering around and chatting with the camera. The boats moved for about 10 minutes testing, but outside of that, no riders at all, nothing. Things have got to change. This cannot keep going on. And I get it, man. Things do happen, but this is not a brand new attraction. This has been here for 35 years. Would have been Splash Mountain's 35th this year, if I'm doing my math right. So what I would be willing to bet what happened was they did no upgrades to the ride system at all and spent all this time putting in water towers and fake plants and grass and everything else. And animatronics didn't do anything to the ride system and then tried to power it back on after being down a year and a half. And things are probably not what they were when they first shut it off. If I had to bet, that's what I would go on. Because from what it seems like, they didn't do anything at all to the ride system. If anybody has any more information on that, let me know, but I don't think they did. Well, everybody, not much is going on. It's just everybody's just standing around looking longingly at the ride as if to make something happen, but it doesn't look like it's going to. So I think we're going to head on out. And to just be clear, I wasn't riding tonight. That wasn't the reason I came out here. I came out because of everything that's been going on with this ride. I wanted to come out, see if it was running with people on it, and talk about it like I did earlier. But so I realistically probably won't be riding this till either the day it opens or sometimes right after that. Back here at the Ticket Transportation Center, what's pretty wild is in less than 2 months, there'll be the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party sign there, and then in a couple more after that, be the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas party. Oh, and side note, this Magic Kingdom has 2 parking lots, Villains and Heroes. Please pay attention wherever you're parking at, because these two lots are nowhere near each other. Well, everybody, that was interesting, right? Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Not doing a whole lot of adventuring. It's kind of just stagnating in the bayou right now. Wow. Again, it's interesting when you see and read about this stuff, but when you show up and actually see it in front of you not working, and the whole time I was here this evening, it did not work once. I mean, work with people on it. It ran for the test cycles, but never once did it run long enough to where they get people on it. And that's the thing about these rides, is when they go down, you just can't put people right back on them and get the ride going. It has to go through a certain amount of test cycles. And when you have a big ride like Splash Mountain, TIANA'S Bayou Adventure, you got to cycle all those boats through there at least, I think it's once or twice, maybe a few more times. If you know, let me know in the comments, but I know it's at least once or twice. And that's a big ride to do that on. So if it's already having problems, they're not, I mean, they can't keep cycling those boats. It keeps breaking down. So unfortunately, what it looks like, I mean, it's after 8 o'clock now, so unless that thing got up and running, a lot of those people aren't going to get to ride tonight. What I wanted to talk about earlier too real quick was, I said, everybody, me included, that's in the group of, well, why do you keep paying for it if you think it's so shitty? Well, it's a good point. It's a very good point. I'm still there where I still like it, but I also, feel like since I'm paying my own money, it's worth it for me to say how I feel because it's my own money. It's not like if this annual pass was complimentary, of the Disney had just given me the annual pass because of my channel or whatever, totally different story. I wouldn't be able to say anything. I'd be like, well, I'm not really paying for this, so I can't give you my opinion one way or the other. Similar to the Galactic Star Cruiser fiasco. But since it is my hard-earned money and I'm paying for it, I'm going to tell you if it's really, really good or if it's really, really bad. And right now, it's not looking good. Disney lately has had, Guardians of the Galaxy got up and running pretty good. Tron, not terribly. Had pretty decent start. But Splash Mountain, man, a ride that's been here since the 90s, can't get up and running. But anyway, thank you all very much for your support. Thank you for the last few videos. Everything is doing very well. I couldn't be more grateful. We're going to take this thing all the way up to 1,000 and beyond. I can't wait to see what the future holds. When I see all these other vloggers walking around, the ones with the big channels, with over 100,000 subscribers that were, around a couple hundred when I first joined, most of them. A couple years ago. What people don't realize is they didn't get to 100,000 plus subscribers in a couple days or a week. It took years. Like, I've been watching Mr. Morrow and Jack from DSNY Newscast for at least 7 or 8 years. They've been working really hard at building this, and that's what I gotta keep telling myself. Like, it takes time. This isn't something, there's a few channels where you're gonna get lucky and you're gonna shoot way up there, but you know what? It happens when it happens, and that's it. You just gotta go along for the ride and enjoy it. I just want to entertain people, and I want you to think, and I want you to get something out of it, and I want you to be like, oh yeah, Matt uploaded again. Let's see what he's got this time. That's all I'm after. Just want to be fun. Want to have fun with y'all. So thank you again very much. It's the truth. It's actual. Everything is mighty satisfactual. Zippity-doo-dah. Zippity-yay. My oh my, what a wonderful day. Main Street Fire Rescue out of service. I'll see you, everybody.